Let's get over to Liver King, shall we? Yes, again, just to bring it full circle, because we were in the Liver King documentary, and this also involves Joe Rogan, and it's a fun story to end on. After an insane couple of weeks, Liver King has found himself under arrest in the city of Austin. Let's go ahead and put some of that video up there on the screen after issuing, quote, terroristic threats against Joe Rogan. Liver King, his real name is Brian Johnson, as revealed in the documentary, and as he often would talk about on his social media platform. I mean, let's be honest, this guy has totally lost it. He appears, he looks terrible. Who knows exactly what's going on with him, whether he's on something or whether he's withdrawing from the steroids that he admitted to taking after lying to everybody about not taking steroids. But the point, actually, as a sociological phenomenon, is important to see because, look, I mean, Liver King is a bullshit artist. I mean, this is a guy who, again, lied about taking steroids, sold I think it was like $100 million or something like that in supplements. He pulled off a bunch of stunts to popularize the carnivore diet, fine. But really, he was like selling a vision and lifestyle centered around a body, which just fundamentally he was lying about. And everybody kind of knew he was lying, but the proof eventually being released by my friend Derek over at More Plates, More Dates just really revealed him to be a total fraud, and he tried to have his whole redemption arc. But I mean, what this just like demonstrates is also, you know, so many people were looking up to Liver King at that time. It's important to remember, you know, that a huge part of his audience was like teenage males who weren't really able to discern a lot of this. And so, you know, in the hopes of being able to show people what the downside of an, frankly, unhinged, you know, lying personality of somebody who's willing to perpetrate, you know, first of all, like this massive attention grab and all this ridiculous shit that he was doing. But also look at the downside of this, you know, like he's literally melting down on his Instagram page, now being arrested by the police, and is obviously unhinged. Like, he looks terrible. I genuinely hope he gets the help that he needs.
He needs to be committed.
His wife and his kids, like, you guys need to step up here, man, because this is a crash out of epic proportions. Like, yeah, take control, because this is not good. You know, whatever it is.
I'll tell you, I watched a documentary last night about him that Saagar's monologue, it like builds to a crescendo and it wraps up with Saagar's monologue. Also, my voice is briefly in it as well from our Joe Rogan appearance. I forgot that we talked about this.
I forgot about it too.
And Joe's like, I knew he was a fraud. And I'm like, oh, just based on how he looks. So in any case, we've been following it. He was obviously not on my radar. I wasn't really the key demographic that they were going after. But what jumps out in the documentary is, first of all, you feel terrible for these boys, his kids.
I do. I know. Those children, they're used as props to basically sell a lifestyle.
And all this weird shit he has them do, I mean, I feel bad for those kids. I think we need to get like child influence, like parents using kids as influencers. There needs to be laws and regulation around this because it is sickening. It's a huge industry and it's grotesque. And, you know, first and foremost, you feel bad for these kids. Secondly, you are wondering, what is the wife is just going along with all of this? Like, what is happening? And then third it was so disturbing to me that this is someone who so many young men looked up to as a role model. When this person is the polar opposite of who a role model should be. I mean, now he's had the full mental break, but this was not a well person. And obviously, his whole thing is built on a lie. He is a con artist. It is complete fraud. I mean, I think a lot of his origin story too is probably a fraud, which involved his kids, by the way.
Nobody knows.
Like, you can't take any of this for granted now because his big selling point was, I look like this because of these 9 ancestral principles or whatever.
Tenets.
And 9 ancestral tenets. And that was all total and complete bullshit. And it wasn't like he just didn't answer the question. Multiple podcasts he'd go on and they'd say, are you
I know.
on?
That's what I mean. He was
absolutely not. No, I know people can't believe it. I love when I get this question, but no, it's all natural and you need to stop limiting yourself and believing that this isn't possible for you too, blah, blah, blah. So this is a con artist, a charlatan, a fraud, someone who is clearly like deeply insecure and in some sort of mental anxiety, anguish, etc., and becomes an icon and a role model for millions. I mean, that it does bring you back to the point of like, we have to do some self-reflection about what state young men are in, that this would be appealing to them, and so many people would gravitate to such an obvious charlatan. So that was the piece for me. And then, you know, I watched a bunch of videos of him just like hunting Joe Rogan throughout Austin. And I think effectively, like, he has in his mental collapse fixated like a stalker on Rogan as the source of his downfall, because Joe had said, you know, several things about him.
He was
over
the most
course.
prominent person to be like, that guy's a liar.
Before it even officially came out.
Yes.
And then he had Derek on the podcast to go through all of the, like, you know, total evidence, like the, you know, the leaked emails and everything that just proved that he absolutely was a fraud and a liar. And so it seems like this guy is completely fixated on Joe. He's hunting him. He shows up in Austin. He's making these direct threats. And he's carrying around this briefcase that has Joe's, like the Joe Rogan Experience logo, which includes his face, of course, on it. And at one point, he opens it briefly. And if you do a like freeze frame of what's inside of it, there's at least one gun in there.
Yeah.
And he's saying, you know, he's saying he wants to fight him and he's coming after him and all of these sorts of things. So I think that's what probably led to them feeling like, okay, we've got enough that we've got to arrest this guy. But yeah,
I'm actually glad. Help. I'm glad that they arrested him, because you can't just be rolling around threatening people with guns on social media. I mean, look, we have some video of this. I'm going to play it for you. You guys, this guy's lost it. Okay, let's watch.
Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I've challenged you man to man to a fight. Honorable. And we don't have to pretend or make any videos. The world is watching. They'll make the videos for us. And you don't have to hold a camera. You can hold the hand of somebody that you love, because what happens next to you, you're going to need to remember that feeling. You're going to need something more than what you did to give you something to fight for, because I have my family to fight for. That's what warriors do. You and Andrew Tate are good warriors. But you're actually better than that real tension we have. Comedy that you do is good and true.
Yeah, it's creepy, man. I mean, it's beyond creepy. It's terrifying, honestly. So I'm glad that they pressed charges, because this type of behavior is just ridiculous. And yeah, honestly, we all hope Brian, not the Liver King, gets the help that he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, look at those pupils. One is like triple the size of the other. There's a lot going on there. And yeah, he needs mental help. That's very clear. And frankly, like, the kids are one thing. Like, you know, I don't know what age they are at this point, but this is their dad, et cetera. But shame on his wife and his handlers and whoever's getting paid by him, whatever.
Oh yeah,
for letting it get to this, letting it get to this point. Letting it get to this point is just absolutely.
It's sad. All right, maybe they can play this in the follow-up documentary. This is going to be in volume 2, the Liver King downfall, shall we?
Yeah,
all right, it's been a great week. Thank you all so much. There'll be a great Friday show for everybody tomorrow, but otherwise, we will see you all next week. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.